Hey, it's Aaron, and today I'm in a 2025 Genesis GV70. Just going to do a quick walkthrough, look at the controls and buttons and whatnots. So, yeah, let's just get started. Start in our usual spot at the left-hand door. So you can see mirror adjustments up here, door locks right here, the windows right here, and then child safety and window lock down here. Over here is your seat memory, and then there's the first of the Bang & Olufsen speakers. Pretty good sound system in this thing, must say. And of course the door handle. Kind of a brush nickel look going on in here. Maybe it may be kind of an aluminum thing, but it's mostly brush nickel. Now, you might be able to make out some of the purple ambiance. You can change the color of the lighting in this as you wish. Right now it's on purple. Anyway, and then down here we have the rear hatch, dimmers, traction control, the squirrely button. This is the hill descent. I don't know why you would need that in this, but it's there, I guess. This isn't really an off-road machine, but whatever. Parking here, the usual pull to set, push to release. Down there is your trunk release, or your hood release, I should say, and a fuse box in here. Then, looking at the steering wheel. So, the steering wheel has a lot going on, but it's pretty simple. So, cruise control stuff over here, mostly. This is your lane keeping right here. This actually goes through menus. I'll show you that a little more when we get up to the driver screen. And then this is I forget what this does. Oh, it's what do you call it? There's a name for it, but it basically, you can customize this to be something useful that you might need. So, you know, if you can customize this button to be whatever you want. Hey, we interrupt this regularly scheduled interior walkthrough to remind you that Aaron on Autos has a members area. You should go join it. You get to see all these videos before everybody else. And if you have questions or anything else, or suggestions or whatever, they go to the top of the list because you're a member now. I call the members in my members area the cool people. Over on this side, you have your mostly driver information and audio kind of controls. So this is the favorites button for favoriting songs, artists, etc. as you're listening to like a streaming service or anything like that. Down here is your telematics, your telephone button. It's not really telematics, but I like that word. This goes back and forth through the modes. So this is how you choose like streaming, like Sirius XM versus, you know, Bluetooth off your phone, so on and so forth, that kind of stuff. Then this is the volume. So you go roll it up and down for volume and you push it to mute. Then up here is your voice activation for the infotainment. The infotainment, the voice controls are okay, but it's still mostly that prompt and response thing. So it's basically a clunky way to go through menus. Now, looking up here, let's go with these dongles first. So you can see there's paddle shifting in case you ever want it. Then you have your windshield washer and so on controls here, so you can kind of see how they work. Twist this, move that up and down. Over here is your lighting. So you can see the regular lights right here. Then you have your brights and stuff, of course, and your signal turns, because you should use them in that order. Signal and then turn. Now let's look at this screen. See if I can get this far enough back. So these annoying little blinky things, you don't normally see that. The camera's picking up those blinking lights, but you won't see those on your own. Just sitting here. This basically is the driver monitor. So it's deciding whether or not you look too sleepy or whatever. Then, see if I can get most of it in one shot. I think I got it there. It's kind of awkward. There we go. I might just, I'm just going to have to pan a little. So over here you can see MPGs. This is all digital. You can customize it a little bit, but this is the MPGs here. Here's your what gear you're in. This is the mostly works most of the times speed sign reader. Yeah, these I have yet to see a car that has these that does it really well. Most of them, it's pretty hit and miss. Sometimes they'll pick up the wrong speed or they'll read the wrong thing. Like you go through a school zone when the school zone isn't active, but it says 20 miles an hour anyway, that kind of stuff. Yeah, it picks up anything square and white with black numbers on it. Pretty much becomes a speed limit sign. So that alone tells me autonomous driving is going to be a ways off. Anyway, fuel over here, so you can see that, and then the filler is on the right hand side, hence the gas pump look, or on the left hand side. See the gas pump with the arrow on it. So here's your fuel level. This is how far you can get. Here's your fuel level, right? Outside temperature, we're at a great 50 degrees, hence I am in shorts and flip-flops. Then right here you can see the driver information screen. So that's the stuff that when I page through the buttons, it will show a bunch of things. So basically what I'm doing is just kind of flipping through, basically using this right here. So this is how you go up and down through the menus and choose what you want, and then you can customize something to this, but most of the time you're probably going to customize this over there. Here's the engine temperature down here, or water temperature. Here's a odometer down here, and then this also changes with those menus. So if I flip through and you can move things back and forth and push the button to bring up a menu. So if I want, like, here's a tachometer, there's tons of options. Lots of tons of, yeah. So anyway, that's pretty much that screen. You can fiddle around with it to find different setups. The screen just kind of moves over, and here's the infotainment screen. So this is basically the main menu. When you push the little house and get to the main, this is what you're looking at. And then you can see a lot of stuff, right? So each of these does something. This is basically the maps, which is what we're on now. Then you can go to destination, which is basically navigation. Here's your, you can project your phone to it, provided it's plugged in and the vehicle's not moving. So you can watch like YouTube and stuff on this screen instead of your phone, but you have to for pretty much everything, you have to be stationary. Here is just your regular phone, so you can just load up and call and all that stuff. So regular phone stuff. You can see my phone, Phony McPhone phase is connected. Then over here is the setup for mostly this stuff. And then 3D setup, which is more of the car stuff, but it's also, it shows the car in 3 dimensions. There you go. And then you can choose stuff to change. Pretty neat. Regular setup is a lot of the same kind of stuff, but it's in menu style, which is actually a lot easier to use. Then you can flip over and keep going. So I wish this was further on the other screen, like one of the first things to come up, because I want to be able to, these are the things I'm going to interact with the most. But you don't need that because boom, hard buttons for them. So at least there's that. Voice memos, kind of neat. Not really that great. I don't know what it would be used for really, but climate settings and so on. So that's basically the menus right there. Coming down here, the hard buttons I mentioned. Here's your start button, volume control, and mute. You can just push this to mute. Then you got map, nav, radio, and media, the things you're probably going to be using the most. So nice placement there. Here's your Duke's lights for hazards. Here's your track seeking back and forth. You can do it on the screen or here. Then you have your star, which is the same as that steering wheel one, so you can favorite stuff. This is the setup, which goes to that same setup screen right there. And then tuning over here. this is kind of pointless when you have buttons, but here you go. If you want tuning, it's a little easier to tune the radio with the knob though. And then climate. So you basically set your temperature right here. So right now it's at 70 degrees, and you can set it, you can sync them or you can set them separately. It's up to you. It's dual zone. Then you have your all of your, well, it's actually tri-zone because there is a rear zone too. So you can see here where you can select. And then most of this is pretty self-explanatory. Coolers and heaters. So you got bun heaters, coolers, defrost is right there, rear defrost is over here, and most of this probably just makes sense looking at it. Steering wheel heat and all of that. Down here is your drive modes. So this turns your automatic start stop on and off. So, you know, when it turns off at the light, if you don't like that kind of stuff, you can just shut it off here. You get worse fuel economy, but go nuts. This is your drive modes. There's basically 3, I want to say. Yeah. So pressing it, I can see there's basically 3: snow, mud, and sand. Probably almost never going to use this. If you live where I live, you might use this in the wintertime for snow mode, and that's probably it. I don't know of anybody who's really going to off-road a Genesis GV70, but you know, there's freaks out there. Here's your parking radars, so you can turn them on and off with that. Here's your parking cameras. This does have 360 cameras, so you can use that to see all around. It'll show up on that screen. Then you have this menu control. Let me get the camera lens out of the way. This menu control here, so you can see you can choose stuff right here, and then you can use this to go around it. Even though that's a touch screen, you still have this as an option, so cool. This is some kind of sensor. I have no idea what it does. I have yet to use it for anything. I kind of suspect that that's where you reset the key fob, but I'm not sure. Here's your auto hill hold and or what's the other word I've used for that? Auto hill hold or launch control. Anyway, auto hill hold right there. Then you have your transmission dial. So basically reverse, neutral, drive, and park, you push the middle button. You just twist this to get any of those. It's a pretty easy, intuitive, simple setup. Cup holders right here, pretty nice. I've also been just putting my phone in here because it's a convenient spot, unlike this charger where you can put your phone there, but you won't be able to see it without looking way away from the road. If I'm getting an incoming call, I've noticed, and I don't have Android Auto on, which is pretty much the norm for me, then that won't that will just show the phone number. It very rarely shows the information like from my contacts. That's true of most cars I've been in, so it's not a knock against Genesis. So I just want to glance down at my phone and see who it is, right? And so I like to have it right here. But anyway, here's your key charger. So you can key as in QI, so you can wirelessly charge your phone. Then you have a little bit of storage, and this that I almost forgot, so I should take it out. So here's a 12-volt plug, couple of USB-Cs, and a nice little kind of a storage area. Not a ton of storage in there, but it's good. This isn't a huge vehicle. Now, you can see more of that purple, and then you can see kind of what the interior looks like. I know the lighting's not perfect, but there's not much I can do about it. Orange seat belts, which is a cool thing. I love orange seat belts. Kind of offsets. It goes with the orange stitching and other stuff, and then you can change this to orange if you really want more orange. I did that for a little while and then changed it over to purple because my daughter complained. This passenger seat has seat controls on the side, so if you need to slide it forward and stuff, you don't have to try to reach way over there to do it. You can just do it right there. And then the back seat. Decent sized back seat, good sized cargo. I may or may not have photos of it. I don't think I took photos of the cargo space. So anyway, that's the quick and dirty interior walkthrough in the 2025 Genesis GV70. Really nice vehicle. Genesis hasn't made a vehicle that I don't like yet. All of them are great. Really like this one. It's smooth, it's simple. There's nothing terribly complicated going on in here. It's just nice to drive, which is kind of the point of a luxury vehicle like this. So yeah, nicely done. All right, This has been Aaron. Talk to you again soon.